Ashish Dhawan is founder and CEO of Central Square Foundation, or CSF. For 20 years, he worked in the investment management business and ran one of India's leading private equity funds, Chris Capital. In June 2012, he left his full-time role at Chris Capital to start CSF. Ashish is an MBA with distinction from Harvard University and a dual bachelor's holder with magna cum laude honors from Yale University. He is on the India Advisory Board of Harvard and a member of Yale's Development Council. Ashish serves on the board of several non-profit organizations, including Akanksha Foundation, Education Foundation, Teach for India, Center for Civil Society, Janagraha, and Give Life. As founder and CEO of CSF, Ashish hopes to bring a fresh impact-based approach to philanthropy in India, and he was recently recognized as the next-gen leader in philanthropy by Forbes India. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the multifaceted and multi-talented Ashish Dhawan.
Dear friends, Rotarians from across South Asia, it's a real honor to speak with you. I'm going to take off from where the minister left and really give you an overview of India's education system, but also specifically talk to you about the Right to Education Act and its implementation, because this is a seminal piece of work that was passed by our government about 3 years ago. So if I could just have my slides on the screen, please. So let me start by telling you that we have the largest education system in the world. 240 million children go to school, 1.3 million schools in India. We're spending about 5.5% of our GDP on education, and about 3 lakh crore is spent by government alone on education. Approximately 15 to 20% of the budget of each of our states is spent on education. So this is a really important issue. I don't believe it has gotten the attention that it deserves. And so I'm very gratified to hear that Rotary has picked up the issue of literacy as the focus area for the coming years. If we could eradicate polio, we definitely can eradicate literacy from the face of our country as well. I want to start by telling you that the picture looks quite grim. India recently took something called the PISA test, which is a global test. And we came second last in the world on that test, just ahead of Kyrgyzstan. Now, not every country in the world took it, but about 70 plus countries did. And we came second last. So, we clearly have nothing to be proud of. We call ourselves an emerging power, but we can never be a developed country if we're going to be second last in the world on education. Pratham or Asar does a survey that shows that half of India's class 5 children are reading at class 2 level, so they are 3 years behind. And 75% of our children in class 5 cannot do simple division. So this is a real tragedy, I believe. We are really robbing our children, because if they can't read and write and do basic maths, then how can they progress and learn of the wonders of science and history, etc.? I talked about this earlier. We came second last in the world on this international test. Now, what's very important to know is that 80% of our children came in at level 1 and level 2. There are 6 levels on this exam, which are level 1, level 2 are the worst levels. If you take a developed country, typically about 20% of the children are level 1, level 2. And those are, when they talk about their education problem, that's what they're talking about. No problem. We, on the other hand, out of the 240 million children, 200 million of our children are being deprived of a good education. 200 million of our children are being deprived of a good education. That's what this data shows us. So this is an extremely urgent problem. We will never ever become a developed country if we do not solve this problem, and we need to solve it now. So I'm going to talk a little bit about education quality, because I believe that is the crux of the issue. If you think about our journey over the last 65 years, the British left us with about an 18% literacy rate. So the focus of our nation was on providing access to all. We built schools. The minister talked about 3 lakh schools being built in the last 15 years under Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan. So we focused on access, every child going to school. We focused on equity, making sure scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, minorities, all were going to school. Well, there is some good news. The good news is that today 97% of our children are enrolled in primary school, class 1 to 5. 97% of our children are enrolled in primary school. The bad news is that only 30% of them make it to class 12. So there's a massive dropout that happens in upper primary and secondary school. So quality, we have solved the problem of access and equity. We now need to shift gears and solve the problem of quality. So if I look at RTE talks about many things. It promises that every child aged 6 through 14 will get access to not just education, but quality education. Education is now a fundamental right that's been enshrined in our Constitution. I believe that there are 4 areas within RTE that we need to look at. One is the power of community. If we want poor children to succeed, I think the minister talked about it, and it was talked about in the earlier presentation, we need the mothers and fathers of the children to be connected with the school. We need them to make the effort at home as well. Second, I'm going to also talk to you about the 25% reservation in private schools. I know a lot of private schools opposed it, but I think this is a great opportunity to build a more integrated society in India. Thirdly, I will talk to you about 2 levers for driving quality. The first is assessment, measuring what we're doing in education, and the second is numeracy and literacy in the early grades. So these are the 4 areas of my focus. Okay, school management committees. What is a school management committee? The Right to Education Act says that every school government school now needs to have a school management committee. 75%, so if you take Delhi, 16 members of this committee, 75% of them, or 12 of them, need to be parents. The headmaster, a senior teacher, and 2 community elders are part of this. So parents finally, this is not a PTA, it's much more than a PTA. Parents finally have a right to monitor the functioning of the school. They even are supposed to develop a plan for the school, a 3-year plan for the school. The reason for doing this is because when you go to our poor communities or to go to see parents whose children go to government school, they will tell you, "Hamara bachcha to sarkari school mein jata hai." They never say कि ये हमारा school है. They always say ये सरकारी school है. We need to change the mindset. We need these parents to believe that this is actually their school. And school management committee is a way to make that happen. It is a way to empower these parents to get involved in the functioning of the school. In our country, there's a big social distance. When we go to rural India, the principal is well educated, gets paid much more than the average parent. And so they look down upon the parents. So I think this is a great way to get parents involved and to get community involved. What do we need to do? What we need to do, even in a city like Delhi, I can tell you that these committees don't exist. They exist on paper. The principal just signs the names of these parents. True elections are not held. You're supposed to hold election to elect these people. So we are already working with East Delhi and North Delhi, and I would urge Rotary to work on this issue to create an awareness campaign to get poor parents to get involved in these committees, to make sure fair elections are run, and then we train them and make them aware of their rights and get them to focus on learning. We tell them कि yes, आपका नलका नहीं चल रहा है, बाउंड्री वॉल में छेद है, ये important issues हैं. But number one issue is आपके बच्चे सीख रहे हैं या नहीं सीख रहे हैं. That is the key issue you need to focus on. And we believe that if you can get parents involved and make them feel motivated, these parents, these 12 parents who are on the committee, will then go into the community and get the other parents to be energized. They will get the other parents to make sure children come to school. They will make sure that children are actually learning at home also. So community connect is very important. In most countries in the world, accountability happens bottoms up. हमारे देश में teacher absenteeism की problem है. If the community is involved, they will hold the teacher accountable. Mr. Pallam Raju doesn't need to do it. So we think this is the power of community. Let me give you one example in which you can get involved. Let's take a state like Andhra Pradesh. About 1 lakh schools in Andhra Pradesh, government schools. It will cost about 5,000 rupees per school to form these committees, to train them, to keep them engaged, and to have a supervisor working across 20 schools. 5,000 rupees per school. The whole state of Andhra Pradesh, 50 crore per year, you make the investment for 4 or 5 years, this will be functional. And I can assure you the state has money. So if you go to the state, they will fund 80-90% of it. So Rotary only needs to put up a fraction of the money, and you can make this happen at scale. 1 lakh schools will have 10 lakh parents involved, mostly women, who will now care about the school and who will spread the word in the community. So this has phenomenal power. Second area I want to talk to you about is a 25% reservation, private schools. Private schools have opposed this. But I tell you, to create an integrated society, this is a great part of the act. Our children who are privileged will finally interact with children from the poorest segments of society, because 25% of the seats in every private school will be reserved for poor or socially disadvantaged children. So we think, if you look over the next decade, 10 million children will have access to seats in private school, all poor children. Their fees will be paid by government. So government takes care of the fees, right? At a certain cost. Roughly, they will be paying about 10,000 rupees per child per year to go to private school for 10 million children eventually, 1 crore children. Now, what can we do? One is, if you look across India, only 30 to 50% of these seats are currently being filled. Even in a city like Delhi, where awareness is much higher, these seats are still not being filled. So one is to create awareness amongst the poor that they have access to this right. And two is to simplify the procedural barriers. अगर आप advocate करें अपने state में या अपने शहर में, that for instance in Delhi, this has been done now, a common application form is created, जिसमें सिर्फ 15 fields हैं. So the poor parent can easily fill in a form, and that form is applicable across all schools. So these are simple interventions. We think these children need remediation when they come into private school. If you provide 3 months of remediation, they will then be on par with the other kids. It's approximately, it will cost roughly 5,000 rupees. So for 5,000 rupees, you can make an intervention, actually even as low as 2,000 if you do it in a light touch way. And the government will pay 10,000 a year for the next 10 years. So think about the leverage on your money, and this can be done at scale as well. Another opportunity is to focus on literacy and numeracy. I believe this is the single biggest issue. She is the magic in the classroom, the teacher. And if we can get our teachers, particularly in class 1, class 2, and class 3, focused on just numeracy and literacy, I think we have some hope. What we need in every state is a literacy and numeracy mission. We need a separate body that focuses just on this issue. We need extra time. Children need at least 2 class sessions per day on language and literacy. Children need at least 1 session a day on numeracy. We need these teachers to be trained specifically on this issue, on literacy, not era, other training. Focus just on this. Provide them with coaches, and if you can build the teachers' capacity, and provide them with the right resources, I believe if we can get the children to read by class 3, we would have solved the biggest problem in our education system. And last area I want to talk to you about is assessment. So imagine, you all run companies. Imagine running a company where you know what's happening with the raw material, how many people are employed, how much inventory you have, but you have no idea what your output is and how much profit you make and how much revenue you make. Well, that is the way we are running our education system. We measure enrollment, attendance, teacher absenteeism, but where is the real data, which is on how our children, what our children are learning? Student learning. At the end of the day, we are running this system not for the teachers. We are running this system for the children. So I believe that yes, we can build more toilets and we can build more, provide more furniture, but we need to focus on quality. And we need to focus on making sure that we are measuring the outcome of children. We need to advocate that every state in India does this, that they formally measure it. It shouldn't just be NGOs that are doing this from the outside. And that will result in quality.